only Scotsman to win the Indianapolis 500. That is, until today.
Well, Marty, doesn't he have to get around and grab the checkered flag first?
You didn't think I'd forgotten about this series, did you?
The following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
You are looking live at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Schneider. And a few months ago, I started a series on this channel where I revisited the first race I remember watching in a particular racing series. But it's been a while since my last installment. I kept putting the Indy 500 video off for a number of reasons, including wanting to get the Greed videos out, starting a new day job, a busy time in my personal life, commitments to the Sunday wrap-up shows with Grid, and because the full broadcast of a 2007 Indianapolis 500 is 5.5 hours long. 5.5 hours long! Dude, I struggle to find the time to watch a movie that I've been wanting to see if the runtime exceeds 2 hours. Look, I know there was a rain delay in this year's 500, but my goodness, man, that's almost an entire shift of work for me. Talk about a time commitment. Yes, I know you're thinking that I just have a short attention span, and you know what? Yeah, you're probably right. So, lucky for you, in order to get myself ready for this year's 500, I finally got over myself, sat down, and got around to rewatching the 07 race. So today, join me for a look back at the 91st running of the greatest spectacle in racing. Can I just say something? There are a few things in this world that are more beautiful than high-definition television from way back in 2007.
Since the dawn of civilization, our species has relentlessly pushed human locomotion beyond the limits nature intended. Today we call this age-old quest for velocity racing.
Nothing will ever top the Paul Page Delta Force intros, but this is pretty impressive. Nice work, Jeremy Irons. Turns out NBC wasn't the first network to use NASCAR analysts at Indy.
This year is certainly no different, except for the fact that it is different.
Boy, this broadcast is off to a great start, isn't it? Danica Mania was in full effect in 2007, and for good reason. This was her first year with Andretti Green Racing, and a lot of folks think she could be a legitimate contender for the win today. There's two other women in the field as well, Milka Duno and Sarah Fisher. It's the first time 3 women will compete in the Indy 500 in the same year. Two-time winner Helio Castroneves is on the pole for Team Penske, with an average speed of 225.817 miles an hour. Something that would have been the slowest time in this year's race, but good enough for pole position in 2007.
You got to beat that Canaan character because he seems like he's been quick all month.
Well, I'm not going to do any interviews because they don't like me, so I just understand.
No,
yes, I
you
can
just
be on
can't
TV.
interrupt our relationship. This is very special, and I saw your wife.
You guys have a special relationship. Good luck to Tony Kanaan there.
Damn, I miss this man. I know a lot of others do as well. The Andrettis are back. Marco was one turn away from winning it last year, finishing second to Sam Hornish Jr., and Michael followed close behind in third. This is almost certainly Michael's last 500, and both he and Marco will be looking to end the Andretti curse to get the family's first win since Mario's victory in 1969. They keep showing Danica Patrick taking the lead in 2005, and I honestly get chills every time I watch it. I can only imagine what it must have been like for the people watching the race live that year.
Marty, you and your partner are way out there on a limb now. You both picked Danica to win here today.
Commentator's jinx is activated. Hey, Peyton Manning's here. The Colts are fresh off their win in Super Bowl 41, of course. And now it's time for driver intros. I honestly forgot Little Al was in this race. This would end up being his last 500 start too. There's a third Andretti in this race as well, Mario's nephew John Andretti. And it turns out the Lamonis Empire extends beyond NASCAR. Are there any singers that are as good live as they are on the record? Because it's safe to say Daughtry isn't one of them. The whole field's just standing on the yard of bricks while a Daughtry concert goes on in the background? No wonder this thing went on for 5.5 hours. I had no idea Elio gave the Colts a pep talk before the Super Bowl. That's honestly one of the coolest things ever. Now this is how you do the national anthem at the Indy 500. Take notes, Steven Tyler.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, it's an annual tradition that Jim Neighbors is here for the annual singing of Back Home Again in Indiana. Due to illness, he cannot be here today.
No Jim Neighbors? Aw, come on, man. Who's gonna sing Back Home Again in Indiana? Apparently the answer is nobody.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Way to give your fans a heart attack before the race even begins, Roger.
Good-looking row with Buddy Rice on the outside of row 6, and on row 9, on the outside, Al Unser Jr. returning here.
Somebody tell Scott Goodyear that the driver on the right is the one on the inside. That's twice now that he's done that. I guess the onboard cameras weren't in HD yet.
And then Ryan Briscoe will also have an onboard camera as well.
Is his camera 20 years old or something?
The road to Indy has taken a different path for each of these 33 drivers. Elio Castroneves, Tony Kanaan were childhood friends. Their road today is a classic rivalry. Who wins? We'll find out. This is not just another race. This is Indianapolis, and the 91st running of the Indianapolis 500 is green.
So there you have it. The race begins. Castroneves holds the lead for most of the first lap, but it's Kanaan who takes the lead coming to the line to complete lap 1. Elio retakes the lead, however, as they complete lap 2. Kanaan retakes the lead a lap and a half later, and he'll settle in and hold it for a handful of laps afterwards. The first caution comes out on lap 12 for John Andretti, who loses his left side mirror.
Well, I think most of your leaders are about to enter pit road, and I want you to watch this man that you're seeing, Rick Reineman. He is going to make these pit stops with a ruptured Achilles tendon that has been surgically repaired. It leaves him flat-footed, so to speak. He's going to have to stay on his knee. He said he wouldn't have been able to do this if they didn't have the first pit and had to worry about a car pulling out or pulling in front of him.
Holy crap, man! You see, everyone? The guys in the pits are athletes too. Elio leads the field on the restart, as Sam Hornish Jr. takes a look underneath Kanaan for a second, but is forced to back off going through turn 1.
And we had a little more contact as well in A.J. Foyt, the fourth pit. What's going on, Jamie?
Actually, it was in Al Unser Jr.'s pit. His right rear tire changer, Dan Brown, was changing the tire when his teammate, Darren Manning, in the 14 car pulled out and clipped his feet. They just checked him out, they put him on the stretcher, and they're taking him out.
I feel like the pits at Indy are too narrow. I don't know if anything could really be done to fix that, but man, pit road is a dangerous place here. Castroneves retakes the lead from Kanaan while ABC is in commercial. Ryan Briscoe also does a nice job saving his car as he gets out of the groove. Last year's runner-up Marco Andretti moves past Dan Weldon to take 4th. Lap traffic holds up Kanaan as Hornish and Andretti get around him, and Marco passes Sam half a lap later.
Just watch the wheel right now. She's working and she's taking that right hand, really turning a lot right mid-turn. So that tells me the car's got a bit of an understeer. I think they call that tight in NASCAR, Rusty.
Why do we call it tight in NASCAR? Isn't understeer a much clearer term? Even in 2007, the TV networks had terrible luck with missing accidents while they were focused on onboards. Anyway, the second caution flag is displayed due to Roberto Moreno, who was only running 32nd at the time.
That front end took off in that car. It wasn't loose, lost that front end, and bam, right in the wall. And what's that feel like when you have no air in the front of that car? Well, I think the situation right now is that he's just going towards the wall.
Truly insightful analysis there. During pit stops, Elio's pit crew does what Alexander Rossi's pit crew does every year at the Indy 500, as they struggle to refuel the car. John Andretti's team also has an extended pit stop, as they look to replace the mirror on his car. ESPN and missing restarts, name a more iconic duo. Marco leads while the Ganassi teammates follow close behind. Dixon takes the lead the next lap with Weldon in hot pursuit. John Herb crashes just after lap 50. And if you know anything about John Herb, you'll know that for once, I don't feel bad about a driver crashing at the Indy 500. Dixon wins the race off pit road. Ryan Briscoe loses a piece of his front wing, and Davey Hamilton tries to exit his pit stall with 3 tires. I always thought that the steering wheels from 2007 looked pretty basic compared to the ones today, but I may have to take that back. There's still a ton of technology there. Kanaan stays out and inherits the lead, followed by Jeff Simmons and Buddy Rice. Rice gets swallowed up on the restart, but Kanaan and Simmons hold their ground, until Dixon passes the latter on the following lap. Milcaduno spins on lap 65 to bring out another caution. Weldon's team picks up 4 spots in the pits, while his teammate Dixon stays out and inherits the lead.
It is Scott Dixon that's got the lead. Dan Weldon stayed out. He did not make the pit stop.
I like Marty Reed, I really do, but he was definitely the king of mistakes. Hornish takes the lead from Dixon on the restart, and Franchitti takes second from him going down the backstretch. Franchitti takes the lead a couple of laps later, while Thomas Scheckter passes Dixon for third.
Chris, I know you need to get your breath and get back to your family. Thanks for taking the time to stop by. Continued success.
You, man. I wish I would have had more to give them out there. We did like 3 shows in less than 24 hours and caught a little nasty cold. I think I got it from Ellen when we did the Ellen show the other day. So well, I'm blaming you, Ellen.
No wonder Daughtry sounded a bit off today. Holy moly, Danica's car is evil.
You saw it on side-by-side.
Well, I didn't see it because the race replay doesn't include the side-by-side commercials. I can't believe they let people stand between pit road and the racetrack like that. That could have been disastrous. Let's just enjoy this beautiful screenshot for a few seconds. Dixon with fuel issues. What is it with these pit stops today? John Andretti hits the wall as ABC comes back from commercial right before the halfway point.
It's unfortunate, but thanks to Camping World and all the people that supported this, I had a great time. That's the first time I think I've touched the wall at Indianapolis, so you know, it wasn't the way I wanted to return. I wanted to return with a good finish, and unfortunately that didn't happen.
Well, Marty, as you know, we've been seeing John Andretti in the NASCAR Series. He will go back, and actually he had a special guest today. The King, Richard Petty, made his first ever appearance at the Indianapolis 500 today.
The King must have liked what he saw, considering the partnership we'd see 2 years later. I'd say so much for the Andretti curse, but then again, John just crashed out, so maybe the curse is real? Kanaan takes the lead from Marco on the restart, as Indy rookie Phil Giebler crashes further back, leading to another caution. And then Mother Nature makes an appearance. And now the race is red flagged. Should I rewatch the entire rain delay? I feel like I'd be corner cutting if I don't. I'll let you guys know if I come across anything worth mentioning.
Tony, tell me about that pass on that restart.
Well, it was a pass.
More truly insightful analysis.
You know, Danica is only here for her 3rd race. And remember how exciting it was a couple of years back when she struck and became the first woman to lead for several laps. And last year she wound up 10th.
Do these guys even get accurate information or not? Here's something cool. A feature on Indy in the 1910s. It's truly amazing how much this sport has evolved over the years.
And Marty, we haven't seen the last of Dario Franchitti. He's got a fast race car, and he's back there in that 5th position, and he wants to get this race started too because that car can get to victory lane.
Rusty Wallace might not be that bad of an analyst after all. There's the legend Paul Page.
One of the things we should point out about Paul Page, one of the reasons he's here today, his son Brian is the fuel management engineer on Tony Kanaan's car. Tony Kanaan is leading right now. If he wins, I think Paul Page will be a very happy papa.
Now, he'd probably trying to climb in victory circle, I'm sure, and celebrate with the team, wouldn't he?
Well, look at that. You learn something new every day. Davey Hamilton is one of the more underrated sports comeback stories of the 2000s. So is Kenny Brack. Whoa! This isn't live anymore. You had 8 years to censor that. And this is network television.
You were finishing up your final interview and your cell phone rang. And who was it on the phone?
Yeah, that was the King of Sweden called, yeah.
King of Sweden. He dispatches me out to face A.J. Foyt and say, hey, A.J., Kenny will be with you in just a minute. He's on the phone with the King of Sweden. And what did A.J. say?
Well, I think A.J. said something to the effect of, well, tell him the King of Houston is waiting and we got to go.
A.J. Foyt is a national treasure. I still can't get over the fact that Little Al is in this race. Former Delaware 87er Baron Davis is here too, and ESPN doesn't know how to spell his first name. How can you not love these two guys? Finally! Looks like we're about to restart. I'm glad I fully committed to this and watched the 2-hour rain delay though. I think ABC did a decent job filling the downtime. Dario's the first car to come in and pit as he feels he may have a tire going down. Darren Manning stalls his car in the pits, and many of the leaders stay out. Kanaan keeps the lead on the restart. Danica falls back a bit from her teammates, but is able to hold off Vitor Mira. Marco takes the lead on the backstretch, but Kanaan takes it back a lap later. Weldon gets around Jeff Simmons as he approaches the top 5, and the Andretti Green teammates continue to hold the top 3. Danica takes second from Marco and begins to set her sights on TK.
I'll tell you, Marty, she's got a smooth run going on right now, and I believe she's going to catch Kanaan. And will she lead the 500 again?
Oh my goodness, Rusty did it again. Weldon continues to make his charge, passing Castroneves for 4th.
But what's going to come in between Kanaan and possibly victory today is that he has to pit in about 10 laps for fuel.
Dario pitting is starting to look like a smart move. My goodness, did you see that at the top of the screen? Richie Hearn almost caused some serious damage. Pit stops begin around lap 135 as the leaders continue to navigate more traffic. Kanaan gives up the lead on lap 137 along with Patrick, handing the lead to Franchitti. Scheckter pits a few laps later, which puts Michael Andretti in second, until he comes into the pits. Dario peels off on lap 143, briefly handing the lead to Jacques Lazier, who's one of only 3 drivers in the race running a Panos chassis as opposed to a Dallara. The first caution since the race restarted comes out on lap 150 due to Marty Roth hitting the wall. With weather approaching, Kanaan wins the race off pit road, but Dario stays out along with Dixon and a handful of others. The race barely gets restarted before Jacques Lazier hits the wall. Kanaan spins out as well. He somehow avoids hitting anything, but with more rain coming, this basically ends his chances at victory.
And we're finding out that Tony is going to have to come back in because you're only supposed to fix the damage when the pits are closed, and I guess they did a little extra work.
Well, the damage would be the one tire that was on the right rear that was flat from the accident. And I think if I can recall, they changed all 4 tires, which is a penalty under the IRL rules.
Oh, come on, that's a dumb rule. The race resumes one more time with Franchitti in the lead, and weather just minutes away. As the drivers turn the intensity up, a multi-car accident occurs on the backstretch, which sees Marco Andretti turn upside down. Weldon is also involved, as is Buddy Rice and Ed Carpenter. Fortunately, Marco's okay, and so is his onboard camera somehow. And now it's pouring. The skies opened up while ABC was showing replays of a crash.
Oh, look at Ashley. This is the best rainstorm she's ever felt, huh, Jamie?
Ashley, you know your husband better than any of us do. What does winning the Indianapolis 500 mean for him?
I'm telling you right now, he's thinking of the great Jimmy Clark.
Congratulations, Ashley. Marty?
The reference to Jimmy Clark, the only Scotsman to win the Indianapolis 500. That is, until today.
Well, Marty, doesn't he have to get around and grab the checkered flag first?
Yes.
I mean, they could spin out. I mean, we saw this a couple years ago where they spun him back in the wall.
If Rusty activates the commentator's curse now, I swear. So that's it. Without much daylight left and rain falling harder than ever, Dario Franchitti is your 2007 Indianapolis 500 winner.
Tune up the bagpipes. Dario Franchitti will win at Indianapolis.
And Marty, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's been a gentleman racer, just like his wife Ashley Judd said. This guy's got to be loving it. Great for Andretti Green.
Chuck, your missus is on the wall there too. Bloody good job, mate. That was yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, you now have a new Indianapolis 500 champion, Dario Franchitti. The Borg Warner wreath is presented.
Cheers.
The most beautiful nectar in all of the world. Dario. It's Indy, baby. The road to Indy is over for you. Welcome to Victory Lane.
I can hardly believe it, Jack. Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it? I gotta thank my team. I gotta thank all these guys here, the whole Andretti Green Nation. This man here, this is for him. Beautiful. Can you believe it? Here he comes. Come here, you. Come here.
I love you, man. I'm so happy for you.
Can you believe that?
And Danica Patrick comes in to congratulate along with Kim Green. Dario, let's talk for a moment. Let's go back to Japan where you learned how to make fuel. And all of a sudden you come here and you are fast through qualifying. You thought you were going to sit on the pole and then you lose it at the last moment. You have to conserve some fuel, do a different strategy. The rain comes and now you're an Indy 500 champion. I guess all that put some character in your belt.
Yeah, and if you knew the reason why we went with that strategy, we cut a tire on some debris and we had to make the pit stop, and these guys just called a great race. And I was saving fuel under yellow. I was saving so much fuel. But whenever it went green, I had to go. I had Dixon back there, and he's a man to watch, but I can't believe it. I was Indy 500. I got to thank my whole team, my teammates, everybody here, all the sponsors. It's awesome.
When will it sink in that you are now, like Jim Clark, a fellow Scotsman, an Indy 500 champion?
Soon, I hope. It's not sunk in right now. I couldn't believe it. Just driving in there. To to be a member of this club is fantastic. I have to say, it could have been any one of the 5 of us today. We rolled the dice. We were unlucky in the first stint of the race. Really glad they decided to run the second part. I was saying, oh no, I think they should stop. I'm glad we went with it, and I kind of got half an idea what it means to win this race now, and I'm pretty happy.
Congratulations, you are now an Indy 500 immortal.
Thanks, brother.
Kanaan expresses frustration after leading 83 laps, exactly half of the 166 that ended up being run. Marco gets an interview after being released from the care center, and says he wasn't even aware of who he hit on his outside until he saw the replay. Dixon comes up just short, finishing second behind Dario, which is exactly how the season championship would end up playing out as well. And it's finally over. Well, rewatching the races, I've still got to edit this whole thing. Hoping to have it up by Saturday, give you guys something to watch before this year's 500. I'm looking forward to it. There's lots of stories to follow, and there should be a lot of good contenders this year. As for this series, it's time to jump forward quite a few years. Up next, a rare Mercedes misstep leads to a first-time winner. Let's relive the 2014 Canadian Grand Prix.